Now, Connecticut is one of the least regulated states when it comes to homeschooling, but that could soon change.
Well, today, the state's Education Committee will vote whether or not to push forward a bill that would add more oversight.
A public hearing held last week on the issue lasted more than 12 hours. Your reporter Anna Stansfield live explaining why some people are not on board. Anna.
Good morning, guys. So this bill would really rewrite our state's current homeschooling regulations, changing the face of it for kids and parents. Lawmakers say this is a necessary change, while many parents argue the opposite. A packed house last week. More than 200 people signed up for public testimony, many of them parents and children currently involved in the homeschool system, a lot of them against this bill. They argue it infringes on their rights to teach their children in the ways they want. Some lawmakers, though, say this bill would better protect kids who aren't seen in the classroom every day. Two tragic cases in our state helped bring this bill back to the Capitol this year. The Waterbury man who claims he was held captive by his stepmom for 20 years, and the case of Jacqueline Torres Garcia. Both of them were homeschooled, and with more oversight, some lawmakers say their deaths could have been prevented. Why they're pushing for this legislation to make sure this never happens again. Now, the Education Committee will vote later today whether or not this bill should move forward in the legislative session. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, I'll break down exactly what this bill could be changing when it comes to homeschooling regulations in the state of Connecticut. For now, though, I'm your reporter live in Hartford, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.